Please, everyone gather round. I've got an announcement to make. Down the trumpets. Listen closely. A long, long time ago was a girl.
Hello, and welcome to Wimpy. We Improv makes podcasts for you. I'm your host, Jake Jabor. This is season 2. Much delayed, much pushed back. Boy, I was listening back to this, and I can't believe how long ago I recorded some of these. So, first off, my apologies to the teams and the guests for all the shows they promoted that have come and gone. Thankfully, the conversation and the improv is evergreen, so you can enjoy it at any time. But sincere apologies for that. And apologies to any listeners who have been just fiending for more improv podcasts. If this is your first time listening, this is sort of a talk show style improv podcast. I give you a little monologue up top. We have a guest interview from an improviser in a community that is not my community so far. And then we do an improv set with a wee improv team. This first episode, we've got the improv team Cosmo, a improv team that goes back pre-pandemic. They've had a lot of changeover in teams, in players, but they have remained the core, and I think that's tremendous. Improv teams can last as long as you want them to. Sometimes they last shorter. No team lasts forever, but Cosmo is putting that to the test. They're a staple, like the Los Angeles Dodgers. One of my favorite teams, their ability to play with one another and always looking for new teammates, and that openingness is a real bright spot, and I think shows in their improv, and is kind of what improv is all about, is collaborating and making, hopefully, art and comedy and a good time with people. So enjoy them. And for our guest, all the way from Germany, we have Luke Bovard. Luke is an improviser living in Germany, an expat, I guess is the term. And he does comedy through the Comedy Cafe in Berlin and Improv Works and the Bit Comedy Network. So we had a nice conversation about his experience out there. And Luke is somebody who I met through social media. And I think his experience is a real testament to how the internet and connectivity can bring people together to improvise and learn from one another and pull in all these different perspectives. So that's been really wonderful. If you're wondering why I was so late to get this out, I'm not going to bore you with the details. Suffice it to say, the end of the year got away from me, and then 2025 has been a shitstorm. If you're curious, you can go to my Substack, jakejabor.substack.com, and I wrote about it in a piece called Slow Learner. Yuck. Plugs. Speaking of plugs, we don't have any sponsors. It's not like I've been turning them down. They haven't been knocking down my door. But the cool thing is I can shout out whoever I want to shout out. So first I want to shout out Music Radio Creative. They're a website that I got some presets for Adobe Audition because I don't know what I'm doing. So hopefully the sound on season 2 is a bit better. Really, really great company from my experience. So that's Music Radio Creative. And then let's shout out the Anti-Recidivism Coalition. They empower individuals and strengthen community through reentry support for incarcerated and formerly incarcerated individuals. And a lot of those individuals helped put out the fires here in Los Angeles. So donate to them if you want to help out individuals who really stepped up and I think prevented a huge disaster from being a total disaster. And along those same lines, check out the National Day Labor Organizing Network. They work to unify and strengthen day labor individuals who also helped out with the fire. So check them out as well. Donate some money there if you'd like. And thanks for listening. I appreciate your patience. I'm still figuring this out. So if I can spin this into an improv lesson, I think it would be not to worry about how things could have gone, but to enjoy how they're going. So, without further ado, let's get into my interview with Luke Bovard, and then onto some improv comedy with Cosmo. Thanks for checking us out.
Please, everyone gather round.
Originally from Canada in Berlin, Germany, Luke Bovard. Thanks for being on.
Hey, Jake. Hello.
Hey, hello. We've been chatting a little bit.
Yeah.
So, just tell me about how you discovered improv, where you, give me a little background.
Journey. Yeah. Growing up in Vancouver in the early 2000s, I think Whose Line was on. We got all the American channels, so I grew up watching Whose Line, which I think many people of that generation did. And I remember in eighth grade, so first year of my high school, they had one of these rotation programs where you'd like try out all the different electives.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's theater, animation, film, all that stuff. And I distinctly remember there was one in theater, and we did a bit of improv. And then I didn't do it. And didn't do improv at that point. Instead, just went off, did my studies. And then it was around 2010, 2011-ish. I think I discovered either Never Not Funny with Jimmy Pardo or WTF with Mark Maron.
Yeah.
It's a bit hazy now, but then that led me naturally to kind of the alt comedy scene from Los Angeles. So Comedy Bang Bang I started listening to, and just getting familiar with all of these people. Listened to a lot of Comedy Bang Bang in the early days. And obviously also I would watch Late Night with Conan O'Brien, and there's tons of people there who I didn't know at the time. And then since then, it's just been listening to a lot of improv, long-form improv podcasts. And it was finally during the pandemic, I'm like, hey, I should actually try this out. It can't be that difficult, can it?
Right.
And yeah, exactly. Like I've heard thousands of hours at this point. I must know a little bit. And I started with some short form, absolutely love, still short form, and then moved over to long form. There's a school here in Berlin called Comedy Cafe Berlin. It's very much inspired by the UCB style. I know you were there a couple years ago.
Yeah. Great time, as I recall. It was in the flurry of a European tour, so it's all a little hazy, and it was but I have a fond warmness for the Berlin comedy community.
Yeah. It's grown quite a bit. Even I started in 2022. Or no, I started taking classes there in 2023, beginning of 2023. And yeah, I've been there ever since. So I've only been doing it kind of on stage in person for 3 years. But I just grew up loving Whose Line, listening to all these podcasts, so many. So it's just kind of, it feels like has always been there.
Yeah.
But only recently have I started to do it myself and appreciate it even more.
I think that's fascinating. That when I spoke to Cullen Gatton from Austin, he had a similar story where I think I'm discovering a whole group who did sort of the reverse path that I did, which is like, I started doing improv and then listening to podcasts with improvisers on it, and there is a whole population that started by listening to podcasts with improvisers and then discovering improv out of that.
Yeah, I definitely probably imagine it's going to be a story for a lot of people coming up. Like they would grew up, listening to something like Comedy Bang Bang, and they're like, "Hey, I can probably do this." Because with podcasts, you can literally anywhere you can do it. You can listen to
Yeah.
them. So if you're not, say, in New York or Chicago or LA, the big cities, you can find it. Because when I was in Canada, I was in near Toronto, and I'm sure there was some improv there, but I didn't really look into it. And then in 2014, I moved to Germany, Frankfurt. Uh, was there English improv? Maybe, but it was probably be very small group
Yeah.
of people because there is the kind of more European style of improv that does exist here. It's called they call impro without the V, and that's more theatrical, more narrative. Keith Johnston is also quite an influence here.
Yeah.
So it's more focused on that kind of oral narrative stuff as opposed to more UCB style game or
Okay.
kind of character driven stuff. Yeah, it's more about like theater. It's like theatrical performance.
Ah, okay, I see. So you were in Berlin for quite almost 9 years before you started doing improv.
I was in Berlin. I moved to Berlin in 2019,
Oh,
and then
2019.
started improv. Yeah, I was in Frankfurt,
Oh, right.
city with
Sorry.
the airport. Yeah, city with the airport, and then moved to Berlin 2019, and then started after 3 years. I
Okay.
literally moved half a year and a half. Yeah, I moved in June 2019, and then obviously March 2020, everything just shut down. So it feels like it's been very short time because it's been more than 5 years now, but it doesn't feel like that because the pandemic just compressed everything to a
Right.
one amorphous blob of time.
Yeah. So I imagine this next question will be impacted by COVID, but how has your sort of living in Berlin changed since doing improv? Did it? And I guess what I mean by that is like, yeah, you had sort of moved and established and set yourself up, and then you came to find improv, which is what a lot of people do to sort of set themselves up and plant their flag a little bit. So yeah, what was that like?
Yeah, so actually, when I moved to Berlin at the time, I was doing a lot of swing dancing,
Oh,
and which is improv. It's you're improvising a dance. It's not set choreo. It's social dancing. You're going up to people, said, "Hey, you want to dance?" You do two songs as a leader um, or a follower. You're dancing with them. You're coming up with the creativity. You're listening to the music. You're being inspired in the moment. You're looking at your partner. What are they doing? Oh, they
yeah.
did a cool little move. I'm going to compliment them. So I actually moved here knowing the names of three dancers,
Oh,
and then
okay.
I met at a festival in Heidelberg, and then within about 3 months, I knew hundreds of people just through the community, through the dance community. And actually, I found helped me a lot with improv because I started in swing dancing, so you're getting used to dancing in front of people, going up and just
Yeah.
looking silly, moving your body, getting in rhythm. And then during the pandemic, I not discovered I started doing some other dances like house dancing, bit of hip hop, a dance called whacking, which is with arms. The very simple to compress a very long, complicated history. Very simply, it's like voguing, but from Los Angeles, and not as popular, not as well known.
No
But
kidding.
it's
Oh,
very
wow.
cool. Yeah, it's got arm movements, and that's all about. And all these social dances are all about getting in a cipher or a circle and dancing and improvising and having fun, playing with the music. Being silly, being stupid. So I already knew a ton of people, and then I got into improv because I'm like, oh, I should really try this, and just kind of expanded more of the social circle, and was already very comfortable. I think what helped me a lot was already being comfortable, just getting up on stage, looking silly, looking stupid. Because with dancing, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just for those who can't see, I'm just like posing like this.
Yeah.
I'm just making this up, and you just do it and be inspired in the moment and have fun. So going on stage, I'm like, oh, I just have to talk with people. Like, oh, this is easy. I've already done this. But
Yeah.
I've met so many people also through the dance scene and through the improv scene, and there's a little bit of overlap with the dance scene, not as much, but I've met tons of great people as well. So it's really just expanded the network of friends.
Wow, that's fascinating. And so you're still in the dance community?
I am, yeah. I was out of it for a little bit for kind of personal stuff, but I'm getting back into it again. And you just meet so many really cool dancers, really cool people, and I see them like very much one and the same package. It's all improvised and it's all coming up, being inspired by the music or being inspired what someone says.
Yeah.
So I'm still involved with that. Although I will say there is one thing which I think a lot of joke about improvisers how they can't dance. Very true. They're also horrible at keeping rhythm.
Yeah.
Horrible at like
I can.
it's infuriating. Like I just want to be like, you're speeding up, come on, slow down.
Yeah, I can attest to that. I have terrible rhythm. So you spoke a little bit about how being in the dance community sort of like primed you for improv. How are they? How are they influencing one another? Do you find any parts sort of bleeding into the other one?
Yeah, I do. I think it really helps, especially object work or movement on stage, being present on stage. Definitely having done dance training, you really get that in your body of like, I'm standing confidently. I am confident of moving myself in weird positions. I'm not afraid of being like all kind of crunched up or
Yeah.
whatever. So like that stuff I find super easy. And it comes to like all those kind of warm-up games you do where you're like trying to mirror people's movements, like all that stuff is, super easy for anyone who's done a lot of dance. And also just object work and being confident of like, I am confident with doing this movement. I don't care if it looks silly. If it looks silly, it's getting laughs, great.
Okay.
Whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I find that, that's from dance to improv and improv to dance. I think it is maybe much more attuned of picking up on the unusual or the weird thing, if we want to put it more in that
Yeah.
style. Someone does some interesting movement, and you're like, oh, I like that movement. Okay, let's explore that. If you're in a partner dance or if you're dancing with people socially, they do some sort of cool pose or movement. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's explore that a little more.
Yeah. I love that. That's tremendous. How does, what about like yes anding and denials? Does that come up in dance? Like, is there?
I think absolutely. I think the general, like the one I primarily do now is called whacking.
Yeah.
And that is all about, it's a social dance. It originated in the clubs. It originated in the gay trans club of Los Angeles among the Black Latino community. And it was all about expressing yourself. And everyone's there to have fun and be themselves. So yeah, it's very much yes ending. Like you see someone do something cool, you want to replicate that. If there's a very famous documentary, check your body at the door about the origin of house dancing in New York in the 90s. I'm very lucky to know some of the dancers in that film.
Wow.
Them. Yeah, very cool. They're still alive, still teaching. But they talk about that. Yeah, like you see someone cool, you see your friend do something cool, you're like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. And then in terms of denial, it can be more of like the playful denial of like, hey, like not denying their like saying no, don't do this, but more of like, okay, you could do better. So that playful atmosphere,
Yeah.
is there.
Wow. Well, I'm curious about maybe also like, is there any correlation or overlap with pattern? I talk in improv a lot about like what's the chorus of the scene, right? What's the chorus, and then let the chorus be the same, and then let the verses be surprising. Do you find that is there pattern in dancing like that?
I've never thought about it like that, but absolutely. Especially in something like swing dancing, where there's there's like no one figures, there's no one names for a lot of moves. And there's like, for example, there's a very common expression, it's I'm just doing the okay sign.
Yes.
It's three swing outs in a circle. If you go watch on YouTube the famous Lindy Hop scene from Hellzapoppin',
okay,
Whitey's Lindy Hoppers, you'll see them do that a lot. They'll do 3 swing outs, which is you basically swing someone out 3 times and then a circle kind of bring them back in. So there's like a very well-known pattern. But then you can then break that out and then do these little individual things. But a lot of times as a leader, I'm thinking, okay, it's been a while. Let's get back to this one thing, reground it, and then move on to something else. So actually, I hadn't thought about that way, but absolutely that there is a connection.
Wow. I love that. I love seeing the way that those two sort of overlap and influence. What, if anything, stands out as like a primary maybe difference between the two? Whether it's in the approach or the community or, yeah.
I would say, besides the obvious one you're speaking, one you're moving your body.
Yeah.
I would say, this is my perception, at least in the scene in Berlin.
Yeah.
I find dancers to be a little bit more open to things. Like I'm thinking of, for example, house dancing or whacking, wing. It's more like we're here to have a good time. We're here. If we fuck up, doesn't matter. No one's watching, right? They're not being performed. They can be performed on stage, and I know people who do that for their job, but you're going out socially. So you're there to have fun. So if you mess up, doesn't matter. We're here to have a good time, just enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
And I have found a little bit with improv, there is that you do get in your head a little bit of like, okay, I'm not feeling it today, or I'm not having a good time. And it projects the energy on stage. So I would say like and actually I would say just wanting to be silly, I think, is a big thing. I have found here in Berlin that people aren't as silly as they could. And I love it when improv just gets stupid. Like, we're not trying to. I personally, I don't see improv as a way to like, let's explore some deep insight to humanity, which some of the more theatrical improv here does or tries to do, or can be there. I'm like, we're now crabs on a spaceship.
Yeah.
Going to the moon made of cheese. That's the level of silliness I love. So I definitely see there could be more silliness in the improv community. Be like a difference I see.
That's tremendous. I am often sort of talking in classes about like I use the inner game of tennis a lot, and it's a part that I quote from it is like letting I'm not going to quote it exactly, but it's like letting a good time, letting joy come in rather than contriving a good time, right? And
exactly.
And that's a book written about tennis, and it feels like it could not be more applicable to improvisation, which is like we are showing up to play around and let joy come in, and so often we get in our heads about contriving a good time, like what would make this fun right now, and it's like, I don't know. You tell me what would make this fun right now. So I find that interesting that maybe there's a little bit of that in Berlin.
I think my senses, and I kind of have this little working theory, because I do improv with a lot of non-native speakers, which in itself, doff my cap. I could never do it.
Yeah, you and me both. I cannot. Yeah.
I stay away. I can speak German, but I could not improvise in German.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a little bit of perception of non-native speakers of getting it wrong, of messing up, like saying something that's not correct. And I'm always like, hey, people, that's the fun. Like, fuck up, mess up. Like, we're gonna, I love that. If you mispronounce a word or misunderstand something, that's so funny. Like, I think there was a scene I remember at a jam, and there were some improvisers from the UK coming in, and they were doing a scene, and they were talking about mistress, the word mistress. And I as a native speaker, and you would pick up based on the context, oh, she's talking about someone who's not being faithful to their partner.
Yeah.
But the person in the improv scene wasn't thinking that way. They were just thinking mistress as the word mistress, as sort of for miss.
Yeah.
And it changed the dynamics. And it was really funny to see the improviser from the UK kind of go like, oh, you're interpreting it this other way.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And I think some people, non-native speakers, get in their head that like, oh no, I'm going to say something wrong. Or it happens a lot when they get a suggestion, they don't know the word, or they're not sure of the word. And I'm like, this is the dream. It's whatever you want it to be. Make it your own. And that's going to be so fun because I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I just grew up with this language. And also, kind of relate to that, is another fun thing that doing improv here, no cultural references, like no common cultural references. Because we all grew up in different places around the world, we don't have the same movie references, for example, or book references. So if you bring up, like maybe Star Wars has permeated the culture, but if you bring up some action film from the 80s that everyone might know, or some rom-com, people are going to be like, what are you talking about? So you almost have to throw away all your established stuff and just do it much more pure, which is a lot of fun. But at the same time, there's cultural shorthand, which I do miss.
Yeah.
To be like, I am now referencing this film. Okay, the other person's like, got it. Okay, I know what you're doing. And that just shortcuts. Like the other day I was on stage and the scene partner, who was a German, very funny German guy, and he got on to like Mr. Hammond and started talking about extracting DNA from mosquitoes. I'm like, okay, this is Jurassic Park, perfect. I know where we can go.
Yeah.
This is easy. Next couple minutes, we have beats we can play with. But if they don't know Jurassic Park, it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to shift around. So it's got its pluses and minuses in my view.
Yeah, you touched on a couple of things that I find really interesting, and the idea of like intentional comedy versus unintentional comedy, and exactly. I think when I teach, I'm trying to be very deliberate about the language, and I always ask people what inspires them, not what their intention was, because I think intention can lead us down a path of sort of like, well, here's what I wanted to happen. And for me, comedy is all about what is going to happen that I did not anticipate or that I did not intend, and trying to get comfortable with that, the unintentional comedy, right? And you need a space that people feel comfortable in, I think, because it is like, I've had a number of people whose English is not their first language do the improv classes and asking like, what if I don't know a word? And it's like, you can ask. Like, this is an opportunity to learn, and making sure that we are laughing at sort of the differences as it relates to, if you weren't on stage and didn't make that choice, this scene would look different. So trying to help people recognize that like our laughter is coming from an appreciation that this scene went the direction it did because you're on stage, not because you said the word incorrectly or did something wrong. For me, it's like, oh, what a absolute joy to see the scene unfold this way because of your background, because of your, the language that you're comfortable speaking, and that sort of translation thing. And you talked about tipping your cap to people who improvise in another language. It's like, I'm preaching something that I don't practice, which is I can't imagine improvising in another language because I would be probably in my head about it. So the fact that you have shown up to do it is like, you've already succeeded at this. Like, the rest is like, you're doing it. I think that's, I think that's awesome.
I was going to say, absolutely. I am so impressed, and so many people are such great native speakers here. And you're just like, man, you're fucking funny in your non-native language. God damn it.
Yeah.
Like, that's so impressive. And like, you're getting people to laugh. And this, you learned this in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it. I can't do that.
I know. And there's something, it's like, you're not only at least bilingual in the traditional sense, but also like you have a cultural like your sense of humor is bilingual. Like, because I know that, something comedy I think is universal, but some types of comedy translate better than others. to different regions and from different, I mean, even in Los Angeles, it's like I've gone to improv shows at other theaters where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what is funny just across town. And there are overlaps, but there are also, so to be able to go like, oh, I can do something funny in another language is always impressive to me. The other thing you talked about that I wanted to touch on a little bit was the cultural references. I think Los Angeles is probably the most guilty of that.
I watch a lot of UCB live streams.
Yeah.
And yeah, which is great. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah.
But if you rely on it too heavily, and I think from what I've heard historically, there was apparently a point where it got really reference heavy.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I sense maybe they're moving away from that, which is, I think, for the benefit of the art form.
I agree with you.
Performers.
I agree. I do it too. I'm very guilty of it, but it is that idea that like what you are doing is making a very strong connection with anyone in the audience who knows what you're talking about, but you are doing it at the cost of losing everybody else who doesn't, right? And if you can make your comedy built on what happens in this room, so everybody, in order to understand the joke, all you had to do was be in the room. You didn't have to have prior knowledge. And that is when your comedy and your jokes are going to succeed the most. And when I say succeed, I just mean like resonate with the most people in the audience because they didn't require any sort of like prerequisite for it. But it's fine to make those choices to go like, you know what? I'm going to deeply connect with 8 people in this audience. But I think, you know, in the spirit of improv and yes-anding and stuff like that, it's like, well, I would like to say yes to everybody who came to this show. And my offer is you don't need anything else. You showed up and that will be enough. And it's like, oh, why didn't that joke land? And it's like, well, somebody might not have known that reference. And I think improvisers are very sensitive to, well, I wasn't getting laughs, so I must have not been funny. And it's like, you might have not been getting laughs because the person just didn't have the knowledge for it. Like, they're not being critical. They're likely sitting in their chair going like, I feel left out. So when you make those cultural references, sometimes you're like, oh, I wasn't funny. And the audience is going, I felt left out. And it's like, if you can do comedy on something that is built in that room, then you get the satisfaction of having the whole audience respond, and everybody in the audience gets to go like, oh, I'm included. And that's something I struggle with all the time. I did a run of Garfield jokes the other day, and I was like, this is not for everybody. It's not for most people, but yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely times where it is fun to just, I actually on stage, I was watching a show a week and a half ago, and it was actually with 2 German performers performing in English. And they were doing some scene. And then literally the guy came out and broke character and said, this is going to be for all the Germans in here. Very specific. And then made a very specific German reference. And then a third of the audience was just howling and everyone else was dead silent. But
I love that.
Small little part. And it was so funny because it's like, they just say a name and it's like, blah, blah, blah. This reference is going to make sense to no one, but Bernard Muller, and then half the audience just starts uproariously laughing, and you're like, what? You said a name. Like, I get that guy probably did something related to the scene, but what we just saw, but what the heck?
Yeah.
And it was, when used like that, it adds a little bit of the spice, and it's just so funny.
It really is. I was speaking to some improvisers from Iceland, and I was like, is there any like Iceland specific comedy? And they referenced somebody in their government who's kind of bounced around a lot. And they were like, we've seen a lot of scenes where like that guy shows up. And it's like, oh yeah. So I guess that's kind of my next question is like, because you're listening to podcasts and getting improv from all these places, is there anything that you feel like, oh, everybody's kind of touching it, doing comedy on this? And then is there anything that's like, this feels very specific to Berlin, like this style of comedy or this sense of...
Yeah, I'll start with the second part. The things that, and this is probably true of every city, but you're always going to get local references. But I think a lot of the stuff, because we're all in Berlin and there's a certain culture here. There's a big club culture. For example, there's a very famous techno club called Berghain, which is notorious to get into. So there's a lot of scenes that kind of roll over that. Also, Kit Kat. There's a club called the Kit Kat Club, which is a famous sex club here in Berlin.
Okay.
And Berlin's very hedonistic. So there's a lot of sex positive parties. There's a lot of, that kind of stuff. So that creeps its way in just because everyone's absorbed around it. And that's like kind of the references. Also, the minutia of German bureaucracy shows up a lot. Like going to the Ausländerbehörde, which is the foreign office, or the Bürgeramt, which is the citizen's office where you get your registration form. So there's a lot of bureaucracy type stuff that comes up in scenes. That's very specific to Germany, Berlin type references.
Yeah,
so that's like the references everyone is going to get who live in Berlin. They're like, I understand that. But in terms of like universal stuff, let me think. Nothing's coming to mind immediately beyond just like universal themes of like these people are at a restaurant or these people are at a grocery store. Like the common settings is very similar.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any like in topic. I would say one thing like we don't do here, which I guess really depends on the area. I don't see much, but there's no politics. Like no political humor comes up.
Okay.
In our scenes, and that's not. I don't think that's intentional. It's just people don't do it.
Yeah.
People make reference to the German. Congratulations, the German government has collapsed just after a little bit after the American one.
Yes.
After the American election, and there was some talk about that. But like that's never going to come up. Like that's these kind of references to the world at large as a whole.
Yeah.
Very few and far between.
Okay.
I'm really trying to think if there's like some commonality. I think it's it's just similar scene types where it's the unusual character and the voice of reason in whatever situation arises. Maybe I'm gonna give it a second thought. Maybe there's something.
I will say in the Iceland episode, it was they like we didn't really settle on anything, I don't think. And then the first sort of conversation we had to lead to improv scenes with the team was about like toilets and pizza, and I was like, oh, this is like a universal, like toilets got a big laugh and pizza is an easy thing to obsess over, like
I'd say those things are also the same. There's also therapy scenes, because Berlin, which I particularly am not the biggest fan of therapy scenes. I think it's little too easy to kind of get the unusual out of the way. Because you're in therapy. But those type of things crop up quite a bit just because therapy is very common here. I think I've seen it a lot in V streams and other stuff. It's like a topic that comes up, or that setting comes up and then moves away from other places. But is food not so much, but like toilet humor. That's kind of universal. I'd say also physical comedy.
Great. Go on.
A big one.
I
know, especially I've heard from various improvisers on podcasts joking about it, but clowning has become very big in Los Angeles.
Yes. Yeah.
So Europe has a very long tradition of clowning. I don't know the history. I'm going to guess it probably originated here. In the medieval ages or something. But so there is a very strong tradition of clowning in Europe. So I know some people who are trained in clowning, and the physicality is very, very like that. I think there's a lot of French. There's like some French dude who is very big in clowning that some of the instructors here have taken classes with, and it's everything I've heard about it. Like sounds absolutely brutal. It sounds like it's not a lot of fun and absolutely vicious. We don't have the polyamory thing though. That's something I learned from LA. That's just everyone here. That's everyone. That's a common thing here. But I'd say like the physical comedy really that translates so well. Because everyone. That's why Mr. Bean is so beloved around the world, because you don't need to understand English to watch funny man put turkey on head. Physical. So there's a lot of, I'd say, like the really good performers, super physical comedy. And when I watch really good LA improvisers, they do that. And I'll reference one of your scenes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, a couple shows ago when you were playing the wacky inflatable tube guy.
Oh,
You were just, I'm waving my arms, and I think you just did that for a couple beats. And I'm like, that would play so well here. Because it's just funny man doing doing this. Just letting the world happen to you.
Yeah,
I'd say the physical stuff.
I appreciate that. That is something that I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful of because everybody I talk to for this podcast emphasizes the physicality in comedy, and I think an easy I don't know if easy is the right word, but like I think an identifier of Los Angeles comedy is it can be a lot of standing around and talking. And everybody has brought up physicality that I talk to who doesn't live in Los Angeles. And it's like, oh, so I have been trying to be a little bit more mindful of like, yeah, what does it mean to be physical in an improv space? And I think like, there's such an emphasis on writing in Los Angeles, so it makes sense that it's all verbal based.
Yeah.
But I think like dance and clowning and ballet came up in an interview. All of that physicality is just another tool and translates so well.
I recently just got this book. I actually saw it on the improv subreddit, the guy who's doing it. It's a full book about object work, physicality, and performance. Yeah, which I've
never seen that book. That's fascinating.
It's from Toronto, so Second City guy. But I've kind of started to read through it because when I practice with some people, we talk a lot about the physicality, making the space well known.
Yeah.
Because actually, I will say there has been a little bit of the influence of the LA kind of stand and talk. I remember, I was actually in Los Angeles this very week where I should say I saw your team perform, but I didn't know at the time at the Herald Night. But that week, a lot of people like Will Hines or Classical had gone over to Berlin for the improv festival here. And one of the complaints is the wrong word, but things they noticed is they said, hey, you guys are all really bad at giving a location.
Yeah.
Really bad at it, using the physical space more. And I've really thought of that. So that kind of has rubbed off a little bit, but
yeah,
there's a lot of people who are very physical and are moving around on stage and having tons of fun.
What's the name of that book? I just realized we both were like, oh, interesting, but I don't think we said it for the podcast.
Book is called, the book is called The Improv Illusionist by David Raitt, Raitt. I don't know anything about him, so hopefully it's not problematic or anything. But
yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
But it's, at the very least, from what I've read through it, it goes through basically being physical on stage. Yeah, actually, one thing I hope that's probably a good thing. There is a chapter on like physical safety and emotional safety.
Great.
Which is something I think probably a good sign, but talk about like how exercises to use the environment, do better object work.
Yeah.
All that stuff, be more physical on stage. And there's even a chapter on improvising online. So
look at that.
There we go.
Fantastic. So that brings me, I just have two more questions. And the second to last one is, what is something that you're thinking about with your improv lately? Something that's maybe holding your attention or that it has interest for you or
I think recently I did a really nice, speaking of online improv, I did a very nice class with Ryan Rosenberg. People will, if they don't,
he's coming up a lot.
Know who he's, if they don't know him, he's on Big Grande. Produces a bunch of other stuff because they're the masters of heightening and yes-ending to the nth degree. If you listen to Big Grande, they're just so good at that. But he, for the first time, like I always understood game. I understand the concept of it. I get how it works, blah, blah, blah. But he just solidified, like crystallized, like how to do a good gamey scene. And he talks about, you build up this sandcastle and then you spend the basically like the non-funny stuff to build up that sandcastle. so then you can smash it all down, and then you build it back up. Or the analogy he also used was duck, duck, goose. If goose is your game and you're just going goose, 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 the audience is going to expect that, and it doesn't become funny. But if you're going duck, 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 goose, it gets the boom there. And it's just I kind of always understood that concept, but then that just solidified, like, of course, it makes so much sense. And we were doing scenes online, and they just were so funny.
Yeah.
You're resting the game in quotes, instead of, building up the world, building up stuff, building up the anticipation. The unusual person's acting kind of normal, and then boom, punchline. And he really talked about how the audience shouldn't see it coming, but the second they hear it, they're like, of course, it's so obvious.
Yep.
And that's kind of been on my mind recently, because I think it's very tough. It's very hard to do, accepting silence on stage, or not trying to play for laughs, play kind of more naturally. But then when you get that laugh, it's so much more rewarding because you worked for it.
Yeah.
That's been something kind of at the top of my mind the last couple weeks. I'd like to do more in my improv.
Yeah. I've heard his duck, duck, goose and sandcastles.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really tracks, and there's a little bit of a universality to that. My language is inevitability and surprise, that which is like a storytelling technique from Aristotle, and the same thing is like, what happened? You almost said it exactly. Like, what happens needs to feel like the only thing that could happen, but you're surprised at how it did happen, right? Or
exactly
in Duck, Duck, Goose, surprised at when it happened. I think that feels very biological. That feels universal in the way that, like, you treat the brain, or you train the brain on a pattern, and then you surprise the brain, and it's like laughter comes from that sort of like, oh, I was expecting this, but not like that, right?
Yeah.
I think that's tremendous. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's the whole. I'm just thinking of patterns, because we had mentioned it earlier. Like, my background is scientific.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do a lot of improvisers come from a super scientific background? Like, I have a PhD in astrophysics, so I did all the math, did all the science at a high level, and it's all pattern recognition. Mathematics is full of patterns and noticing these patterns. And then kind of like, okay, how can what people would say, if this is true, what else is true? Like, okay, what comes next?
Yeah.
I really enjoy that kind of pattern breaking and matching. And I've always wondered, is there a higher proportion? Because interestingly enough, in Lindy Hop, it was full of scientists and tech people. Partially because it's an easy way to socialize, and they're all nerds, yeah. It's the kind of the joke about it. But it's also because it's building blocks. It's like, if I can do these patterns and put them together in different ways, I can do cool things.
Yeah.
I don't know what the improv world is like. Like, here, it's a mixture of everyone. All sorts of people, because there's no industry here, so it's just people doing this for fun. But maybe what's it like in LA?
Yeah, there are you hear people who are like, oh, that person has a background in mathematics or computer science, or they're a nurse or a doctor. So it's hard to know exactly. I think there must be a slightly higher percentage, or culturally, it's more impressive to say that somebody, is a doctor or than it is to say, like, oh, they work in construction or a business or something like that. So maybe that's why I have those a little bit more anecdotal, those numbers. But I do think that improv attracts people who, yes, both appreciate pattern recognition and sort of like breaking those patterns, but it also to have that high level of degree that you have, and for other people who have done that, it's like there is very much this expectation and sort of demand to sort of say, like, what is the right answer here, right? And so you spend a lot of your life sort of like, I need to get this right. And I think for a lot of people, or at least I'll speak for myself, is like improv was this space to go like, oh, I don't have to get this right. Like, I don't have to get it. The destination is not as important. That it's okay to kind of like mess around on the journey. And for me, it was a very like in school and academia, I was very much like, tell me what I need to do to get an A. And so improv, that was what I was trying to do for the first 5-10 years when I was improvising. And then only after that did it become, I'm less concerned with getting an A and more concerned with like, what is this person going to say? And where is this going to take us? As opposed to like, I have to hit the game of the scene. So I do see it attract a lot of people initially of like, how do I do this correctly? And then I think hopefully sticking with it and embracing sort of like, oh, this is one part of life that I don't have to sort of hit my marks on necessarily.
Yeah, actually, just you talking about that reminds me of the interview you did on Yes Also when you were talking about bitchin'. I can't remember the specifics, but I think you said one. I remember Lisa Gilroy was one of the people who was just doing it, and another performer came on and just asked a question, and then you were saying Lisa afterwards, like, I didn't, did I get it right? You know, did I do it? And the other person was just like, no, I just wanted to see what would happen.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, that's like a moment in my mind. I've been telling people that. I'm like, oh, that's what I want to, aim towards. Because I think I'm guilty of it too, just sitting on the back line of like, okay, what is a good move? What's a fun move? What's a non-obvious move? Okay, they're at a restaurant. I don't want to be a waiter, or I don't want to take this to whatever location. And
yeah.
I guess this is another thing I have been thinking of. I've been trying to do this because I met Sarah Claspel in Edinburgh earlier this year, and she was talking about if she has 20 to 25% of an idea, she goes on stage.
Yeah.
And then she just trusts that she'll figure it out. And I'm trying to be a little bit more like that. Like, okay, I have half idea. I'm 70% confident. Okay, let's try this. If it fails, who cares? If it works, great. Awesome.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really great. I had a friend who doesn't do improv talk to me about or explain to me 2080, the idea.
It's called the Pareto principle. Yeah.
Pareto principle. Okay, so let me know if I have this right. 20% effort produces 80% results. Is that?
That's pretty much, it's stated, and I think the standard one is 80% of the consequences come from 20% of the work, or some other like that. That's the basic rule. It's whatever. I think it's been changed to whatever suits your convenience at the time. But we talk about it at work. 20% of the customers give you 80% of the revenue or whatever.
Yeah.
Like these are kind of standard numbers that you throw out there.
I love that. And you talking about Sarah's thing and the 25% is like, I like that. I like going into a scene with the idea of like, you don't have it all figured out. You got 20% of it. Like trust that this scene's going to be, you're going to get 80% results, whatever that is. And the thing I've been telling people lately is like, after 16 years of improvising, the percentage of scenes that have gone the way I thought they were going to go is 0. And like, the moment that ticks up even to 1% is probably the moment I start losing interest in this. Is like, if scenes start going, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. And I teach, so it's like I see trends. It's like, oh, they did a scene, somebody got labeled as, you seem unsure. And it's like, I kind of know where this scene's going to go. This person is going to become more and more unsure, and it's going to be harder to play because they have less faculties in the next beat than they did in the previous beat. So they're getting stripped away. But there's usually a surprise with it. And then in my own improv, it's like I'm constantly trying to sort of go like, oh, I feel like I have too much of a control over where the scene is going. So I've got to like shake it up. I've got to put my scene partner on the spot or surprise myself so that I get back into that kind of like, I don't know where we're going. Because that's what I love about it.
Yeah, it's great. It's quite, I think, quite challenging. And I think about it as well of having, and actually that I like that in that book, it's also the emotional safety and like trusting your teammates of like they know you're going in with half-baked idea and we're going to make it work somehow.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's quite underappreciated, like having that mental safety of like I'm going to try something really fucking weird, something bizarre from like I don't know where that came from. I'm going to try it, and your teammates be like, "What? Where'd that come from?" But they're like, "Hell yeah, okay, let's try
Yeah.
something together."
Yeah, you're
I think
right.
that takes a lot of practice, and ideally, that's where I'd love to be, and with everyone else as well.
Yeah, that me too is like I've been having a lot of fun watching improvisers, very experienced improvisers playing with less experienced improvisers because
Oh yeah,
less experienced improvisers don't know enough to know that like, oh, your scene partner is kind of expecting a certain response.
hmm
And so they give the response that comes to mind for them, and watching the experienced improviser be like, oh, and then their
I
experience
love it.
kicks in and is like, I'm going to support this. And it's like, yeah,
Right.
like, I've been really championing the idea of like, let's actually practice under not ideal conditions. Like, there's a lot of like, okay, say this, great. And then you say this, and then we do this, and great. Now we have the game to play. And it's like, you need that. But the more you improvise, I think the more you need let's see what happens when you say this and they say something fucking nuts. And then
I love it.
getting to see how that comes together. So, yeah. What if people are in Berlin or this is the plug portion? Luke.
Plug portion.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, if you happen to be in Berlin, drop me a line. I assume you'll put the stuff in
Yes.
the show notes. There's two great theaters in Berlin that do comedy in English. There's Comedy Cafe Berlin, which does very UCB style. We're influenced. I think Will Hines has been big influence on the founders there. He's come over a couple times. So very UCB style. There's another theater called Improv Works, where I also do a monthly show, short form, but also hopefully we're getting a long form team as well,
Great.
doing a Cat's Cradle. So kind of more different. This is more less gamey, more I don't want to say narrative because that's not true, but more narrative, like less punchline, beat to death the game type thing.
Yeah.
Or like let's explore a theme or a topic. But also, I'm doing a lot of fun stuff online with a team called Bit, which is Billy's Improv Theater. Billy Merritt, an old UCB guy, there's about 20, 25 of us who are doing stuff online. We record podcasts. I think now we've recorded at least about 15 or so.
Oh
So
wow!
we have a whole
Tremendous.
yeah, we're doing basically he talks about the early days of UCB, how they would just do shows and whatnot. So we have our version of Mondo, we have our version of the Herald. We do movies, we're doing documentaries. I've also started producing a show that's in the vein of all these improv podcasts where it's long sit down characters, Tavern, Comedy Bang Bang, like a classic staple. We
Yeah.
love it, which is
Oh.
tons of fun. We just started recording the first two episodes. So that'll be coming. The URL, let me make sure I get this right. Bit Comedy Network, BIT Comedy Network. We have, let's see, we're up to, 13 or 14 release podcasts, and it's all online. We improvisers from around the world, which is also great. There's a lot of people from the US. We have people from Europe, a couple from eastern parts of the world, not Japan, but I don't think there's anyone in Indonesia, Australia, but like that, they're kind of from that part of the world. And it's really fun. We're always looking for people. It's open. You just check the Instagram.
Absolutely.
We do tons of fun stuff. And I just love learning more about improv. Billy is fantastic. I've learned so much great stuff. And yeah, I'm producing my first show, as I mentioned. It's called Backstage at the Regency. It's backstage at a theater in a kind of midtown anywhere USA. And we're having tons of fun with that.
I love that. That's incredible. And Backstage at the Regency, that will be on the Bit Comedy Network?
Yeah.
Okay.
Under the Spotlight one. I'm starting to edit them, and hopefully they'll come out in the next couple weeks.
All right. So those will be out before this is. So that's great. So check out Backstage at the Regents.
Then they're already out. Look,
they're already out. You probably have already heard them. They're probably number one.
They're really fun.
They're great.
It kicked off Joe Rogan.
Yeah. We early exclusive. You heard it here.
Exactly.
That's so tremendous. Luke, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Mike. It's an honor. I absolutely love talking about improv, and it's just so much fun. We're adults being silly, playing pretend make.
Hey, we're going to take a little pause to hear a word from our sponsor, me. Are you in Los Angeles? Do you want to be a part of We? Do you want to help out We? Does it feel insane to pay upwards of $200, $300, $400, $500 for an improv class? Well, we would like to help. We has a membership. For $10 a month, you get 10% off any workshop. That puts most workshops under $200. And you get a monthly drop-in. So if nothing else, pay $10 and do a drop-in workshop. You can pay $20 a month. You still get the 10% off, still get the drop-in, but you also get a mashup show and a t-shirt or a hat. Do you not want to be a member because you don't live in Los Angeles? You can still get a t-shirt and a hat at weimprov.org. Or if you're in Los Angeles and you want to sign up as an improv team, you can perform regularly at We for a monthly fee. And we have tiered pricing on all our workshops. So hopefully that makes it a little bit more accessible because it's fucking expensive in Los Angeles. And improv is great and it should be accessible to everybody. And I'm trying to make that happen. So if you want to support We, memberships are the best way to do it. It's a way to give the theater money and get something in return, like an exchange for goods and services. And check out a class, check out a show. All our shows are free and they're great. I know that I'm biased and I'm making this podcast, but I'm putting teams that perform at the shows on this podcast because I know if you hear them, you're going to go like, that's got to be even better in person, which is hard to imagine because that was the best time I've had inside my ears. It will be better in person, which I know is hard to believe. Okay, back to the show.
Please, everyone gather round.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. I still haven't figured this out yet. Today's improv team is Cosmo. Hi, Cosmo.
Hi.
Hello.
Do you want to go around and introduce yourselves?
Yes, we would. Hey, I'm Ben. Ben Castle.
Great.
I'm Prerica Chala.
Hi, Perica.
I'm Miriam Katz.
Hi, Miriam.
And I'm Nick Costanza.
Great. Hi, Nick. Thanks for being on the podcast. How long have you been a team?
Man, for 5 years. Isn't that cool?
It's very cool.
It's amazing. Not all of us. In fact, only me. And Joe, who's not even here. But I think that's very amazing that it was pre-COVID and then all through COVID. And
that's
now
right.
still.
Yeah.
I love that.
You were saying earlier that this is the first time you've seen Cosmo during the day.
The first time?
I mean, it's possible like late afternoon, but this is the earliest I've ever seen Cosmo. It's 12 o'clock. And I mean, I think I'm a little different during the day. So
We should get brunch
welcome.
sometime.
That's nice.
Sure. I remember this morning I walked around the corner right before we got here on the sidewalk, saw Miriam, and she was aghast. She was like, that's what you look like in the daytime?
That's your vibe?
We should say this about Cosmo. This is the most mature improv team I've had in a couple
That's
ways.
true.
Not necessarily.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
It's genuine.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like a good thing so.
Not necessarily in terms of our sets, which tend to be less mature, but this is age range wise one of the older teams I've been on, in that until this year, I was the baby of the team.
Yes.
And I'm almost 31.
Yeah. And then you had a baby. You guys had an infant join, right?
Yes. Now we have a literal baby who...
So funny.
I think you forgot to introduce her.
Yes, yeah, I did. I forgot. Baby Jessica.
I'm in a well.
She's in a well. Yes, of course. Yes, of course. And Frodica, that is a story from the 80s.
Okay, cool.
Always get those.
Yeah. What were you going to ask Miriam? Will that be?
Talk? No, that's great small talk. Miriam was saying I should get Daisy Dukes. It's very hot in LA today.
Yeah.
It's like in the 90s. And I was going to ask, are Daisy Dukes is still an acceptable term?
Oh, what a question.
Oh, interesting.
What's the issue?
Well, they're the Dixie Chicks took Dixie out of their name.
Uh-huh.
Right? Bo and Luke Duke from what's the show?
Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Had a Confederate flag on their car. I'm just how far does it go where you're these...
They're called the Daisy Dukes because Daisy Duke wore them, right?
Yeah, from the Dukes of Hazzard. You were unaware of this.
Yeah, I've never seen that television program.
It's not a great show. They had chases, and it's very silly and broad.
Yeah, and...
I don't think you need to say the word very often, so the question doesn't come up that much.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only person who says that still.
What's the difference between Daisy Dukes and jean shorts?
I think Daisy Dukes are short shorts.
Short shorts.
Yeah.
They're maybe a little of your butt showing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I want Ben to get them.
Yeah. I have a tough time staying cool.
You tank, though.
I do tank. I have not worn tank tops in a minute, but I do.
You should.
Tank. Yeah. That's right.
I think people should show bodies.
As casual as my life is, which I'm grateful for, and I get to teach improv comedy, I do get hung up on wearing shorts or tank tops if I'm teaching.
Oh, yeah. It's scary.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm wearing shorts today, and I'll teach later, and I'll let you know how it goes. But
because pants feel more formal and like you're a teacher.
Yeah, even though I'm I'm so happy I don't have to wear a tie or do any of that stuff. And sometimes if it's cold, I'll even wear a teacher sweater.
What's that?
What are the ones that button up?
A cardigan?
A cardigan? Yeah. It'll make me feel, I'll dress for, it combats my imposter syndrome a little bit.
But on Herald Night, you're tanking out.
Yeah, on Herald Night, I'll tank out. Yeah, that was a nice time when we got to do that. But no more Herald Night, so no more tanking out.
Wait, what?
For me.
You stopped?
He got cut, finally.
Sorry. I don't know anything.
Bitchin' got graduated, so we don't do Heralds anymore.
But
we just do
better. You can do it whatever you want.
We can do whatever we want once a month.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thanks. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do y'all have strategies for beating the heat?
Oh, good.
I'll say one of mine is, this is from, I went to early elementary school in Phoenix, Arizona, where it gets crazy hot. And it was, you fill your water bottle every day with ice. But there you fill your water bottle with water, put it sideways and freeze it the night before.
Wow.
Because we would go to recess and come back and everybody's just lays on their desk. They would say put your face on your desk for 10 minutes and hold your water bottle.
Really?
Strategy,
Whoa.
yeah. Because people would just get heat stroke.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I read in Japan, I think, they were freezing cucumbers and bringing them into concerts.
Oh.
Because it holds a lot of moisture.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Where were they putting them?
I think you could bring it in, right?
Team.
Because I think they were just eating frozen cucumbers at the concert.
To clarify my question, when I think of cucumber, I think of slices on your eyes, like you're at the spa.
Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't feel conducive for a concert.
No, this was an uncut log. I don't know, a full cucumber. I think it may look like
log. I guess that's an apt descriptor. I've never heard it before.
One time, Susie Barrett did a presentation on ugly vegetables. What are those called?
Is that just what they're called?
Yeah, I think ugly vegetables sounds good.
There's like a program where you can have them sent to your house. They're like the ones that don't look good enough for the...
Oh, imperfect produce.
There you
Nice.
go. Imperfect produce.
I forgot to cancel that for like a year.
Ugly so different than imperfect. That's funny.
Imperfect produce. And she was like, and they're still good. She's like, you can eat a cucumber... she said you could eat a cucumber raw back or something like that. Like raw dog a cucumber. And that has stuck with me for my entire life.
Raw dog and uncut log.
Yeah, raw dog and uncut log.
Wow.
We're in great territory already. Other people have tips for beating the heat.
I have attention deficit issues, so even like filling up a water bottle is something I forget to do, let alone freezing it.
Yeah.
I have a thing called an Arctic Air, which is a little box that blows cold air at you, but it also has you fill water in the top of it. Mm-hmm. I'll put some ice cubes in there, and there's a little tray that you can freeze. That's the one thing I can remember to do.
Okay.
Put some water on it, leave it in the freezer. I bought a second tray so that I always have one, and I just rotate
It's
out.
like a swamp cooler.
It's like a swamp cooler.
Yeah.
How loud is it?
It's, if on the highest setting, too loud for me to podcast comfortably, but on the lowest setting, the mic doesn't pick it up.
Okay, that is great. I was looking at getting one for here.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure if it was worth it to do with the ice.
It's pretty small.
Yeah.
The one I have, at least. It might not cool a whole stage.
Yeah.
I'll say mine is really having your armpits free. I cannot believe none of you guys are.
Free meaning?
Just another way of saying wear a tank top.
Tank top.
Wear a tank
I
top. I would never.
I think a tank top would be amazing on all of you.
I don't have
look
the
at that.
body positivity for that.
Yeah, same.
I have it for you.
Wow. There
Or
you
the
go.
comfort. I also am scared of the sun. I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't want any sun to touch my skin ever.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like all I want. You're gonna be wrinkly.
I enjoy a tank top. I appreciate tank tops. I don't like them I feel like if I go to a concert, I don't like other people wearing them.
Oh, because their
it's a
sweat
lot
will
of-
be
Oh, the
on
rubs.
you.
Yeah.
It feels very intimate to have somebody's
Yeah.
shoulder against your shoulder.
Yeah, it's rough on like a train or public transit.
Yeah,
like,
where you're like, it is very strange.
Lot of
I don't know
slime.
why this is such a
Slime.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Erica, do you have a beat the heat technique?
Not really, just air conditioning. It feels like the only thing that actually works.
Good idea.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
I'll be going to Asia in August, and it's supposed to be like the hottest month there. And in Japan, they have these cooling towels that, like, when you run them underwater or something. I'm not sure if it activates something that's like extra cooling or if it's just wet towels, but I'm planning on getting one of those. You just like wrap it around your neck, and then it's like,
Ooh.
raise your body temperature. Wow.
Handkerchief works really well for that as well.
Oh. Okay.
If you forget one or ever, you just run it underwater, you snap it, and then put it around your neck.
Oh.
Why do you snap it?
Yeah.
You snap it to get the right amount of moisture in it.
Okay,
and so
that
it's
is, like,
like
dripping.
take some out or wring it out a little bit. Because if it's dripping, it'll feel good. It just won't evaporate off of the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't think about that.
works really well when it's dry. So it works good in LA.
I went to Japan as a kid because my uncle got married there. I remember going.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Destination wedding in Japan?
He married a Japanese woman.
Wow.
And they had sort of two wedding ceremonies. One was in the backyard of my home, which is on a hill in Federal Way, Washington, and then also in Japan with her family. Her parents owned a restaurant. You can cut this. It's the first place I had shark fin soup.
Wow.
Which is very
You're gonna say
bad.
something way crazier.
It's a bad food. You shouldn't have it. But I had it when I was 6 years old in Japan.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It was one of the best things I've ever tasted in my
Whoa,
life. It was so
six,
good.
too.
Yeah.
Really?
Were you an adventurous eater at that age?
I was, yeah. I had a refined palate. But I also remember the bathrooms in Japan. They had high-tech toilets. And this was like 99. And I just remember pushing all the buttons on the toilet, spraying water. It must have been a bidet or something, but it was like spraying water over the stall. And my uncle saw that, and he was so mad at me.
Really?
Yeah. So don't do that, Perica. Don't play with all the buttons.
Thank you.
That is a big trip for you at 6.
It was amazing. It was 1999 in the height of the Pokemon craze. So I was in Japan, and I went to a toy store, and it was Pokemon everything.
Yeah.
It was like I was in heaven.
Did you? Were you able to get a lot of this excites me. Were you able to get a lot of Pokemon that you couldn't get in the States? Does it have that?
Great question. This was at a time when it was only the first 150 Pokemon. Now there's like 800. There's so many, I don't know them all. But I remember getting a pack of cards, opening them. They were all in Japanese. They were all ones I knew. But then there was one I didn't know because it hadn't come out yet in the United States. It was Steelix. Onyx's Evolution, Jake. And I think I still have that card somewhere, and I loved it.
Well, and did you play Pokemon?
I did, and I know I've told this story on my podcast, Reactivators plug. Just kidding, cut that too.
Never.
There's no cutting.
I was so annoyed with my mom because she wouldn't let me get Pokemon Green, which was a game that they only released in Japan. And she was like, well, it's in Japanese. You won't be able to speak the language. And I knew it was a priceless collector's item, even at that young age. I was so mad that she wouldn't get it
Parents
for
just
me.
don't understand.
They don't
It's also
understand.
from the 80s.
Was this the Game Boy thing where it was like green, yellow, red?
Yes. In the United States, it was red, blue, and yellow.
Okay.
In Japan, it was red and green. And they changed green into blue for international distribution.
Wow.
Yeah.
The way you're lighting up about this, I feel like you need to do something. Like, this needs to be a one-person show. It's, like, so cute.
It's very good.
My argument to her at the time was that my best friend, Jack...
At 6 years old while you're sipping on shark fin soup.
Correct. My best friend, Jack, had played through Pokemon Red, and he hadn't learned to read yet. And I said that, well, it doesn't matter if I can't speak Japanese or read it, because my friend could beat the game without reading at all.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
Did Jack ever learn to read?
No. And he is now a lawyer, and he still doesn't know how to read. All right, class, settle in. For the beginning of our lesson, I'd like everybody to take out your water bottle and put your head on your desk for 10 minutes.
Mr. Cosgrove?
Yes.
It's winter.
Okay, heads down, everybody. I love this. This has been great for my teaching. I get to settle in for the day, and you all just are quiet for 10 minutes.
We're not hot.
Did you put ice in your water bottle?
I put ice in my water bottle, but it's cold out. It's winter.
And this is, I forgot, did you say this is college? Can I say that, or did you already say what it was?
Yeah, it's college.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
worked.
Can I say we're college students, or did you already say we're college students?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Yep, this is an econ
Okay.
class.
And your
Yeah.
professor, is that okay? Or
That's correct.
Okay, great. So in that case, I think it was wild to require us to have water bottles with ice in it.
This worked great when I was an elementary school teacher. I think it's going to work great now.
I actually would be open to learning the lesson.
Yep. After, let's see, we got about 8.5 minutes. I'm not going to write anything on the board until the time has elapsed. Everybody just keep your head down.
I'm sorry, Mr. Codsworth. You can't.
Cosgrove.
Cosgrove?
Yeah. Econ
You
teacher.
can say that,
Yeah,
right?
sorry, Mr. Is it okay to say that? It's been
I
established?
think it's okay to say
Professor
Okay.
Cosgrove.
Professor Cosgrove. Professor Cosgrove, it seems like you just think you can teach college like you taught elementary school. I don't think it's working.
You don't think it's working?
No, we haven't learned anything.
You told me to bring in my security blanket. I don't need this.
Okay. All right, we'll take a break from heads on the desk for a second.
Great.
Benjamin, why don't you come up to the front and show us what you brought for show and tell?
God. Okay, great. Okay. Hey, my name's Benjamin, and for show and tell, I brought my igloo cooler. So it's a regular canister cooler. You open it, and it keeps my gazpacho nice and cool all day.
Nice and cool, man. I wish I had my head on my desk with a cool cup of gazpacho right now.
This class is bad.
What do you mean?
What are you doing?
I'm trying to be an econ major. Can you teach us anything?
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I understand. I am teaching things like it's an elementary class. Everybody take out the blocks on your desk. There's a couple different colors and shapes. We're going to stack them up.
Okay, this feels like it might be economics.
Everybody count. How many do you have?
I got 7.
4.
I got 6.
7, 6, 4.
I have 2.
2.
I want their blocks.
Ooh.
You can't have their blocks. Those are their blocks.
Economic disparity. Okay,
I want
we're
their
getting
blocks.
somewhere.
Jacob, I'm going to put you in timeout again.
I don't want to go to timeout again.
I'm going to put you in timeout.
We see me knock over their blocks.
Hey! This is a college course, mister. The dean's going to call your mom.
No, don't.
She's gonna call your mom.
No, I want.
You're going to be in so much trouble.
No, I
You
want.
want to take my security blanket?
Okay.
I'm in a lot of debt for this class. And this isn't helping justify any of that.
You need to go to the bathroom?
Oh, thanks, Mom. For the cereal. What do you got going on today?
Oh, not too much, honey. I got to go to work.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. Is this organic milk?
Yeah. I went to Trader Joe's this morning.
Yeah, it tastes like Trader Joe's. I'll tell you that right now. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be uppity, Mom. I have a very refined palate for a 6-year-old.
Nicholas.
Yes?
I know you see yourself as a burgeoning food critic.
Gourmand, thank you.
Gourmand. This is breakfast cereal, okay? It doesn't need to be elevated to a higher concept. I'd like you to just enjoy it.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mommy. I really appreciate all the work that you do. I know I'm precocious.
You're very sweet, thank you. Let me fix you some OJ.
I would love that.
Nicholas, you want a Lego?
What?
You want a Lego?
Hey, Caleb.
Yeah.
Do I want a Lego?
Yeah, I slept over. Just thought maybe you'd want a Lego to eat.
To eat? Why? What's going on with you, Caleb? You're eating Legos?
Oh, is that bad?
Don't feed your brother toys, please. His palate is too refined. He'll be telling me all the plastics in it.
That's why.
Yeah, I don't want a list of ingredients,
So
okay?
you both, Mommy and Caleb, you guys both think eating Legos is okay and normal.
Yes.
What? They're sharp. They're made of inedible
They're
plastic.
really small.
How many Legos have you eaten, Caleb?
I've had 2 total. It's all right.
Okay, 2. That's not so bad.
Thank you.
I'm sure you can pass those.
You want to try? I mean, you've got the refined palate.
No, I'll swish it around.
Take a wig.
Can I just... A wig? Oh, okay, great. Like a minifig wig. No! Are you serious? This is terrible.
Well, what's your palate detect?
It has an aftertaste of sweaty palms and kind of a lot of on the tongue. It's
dead on.
Wow. On the tongue, it's very plastic.
He's annoying, but it's really impressive.
It's amazing.
It's really impressive. We should put him on MasterChef Junior.
Just to be clear, I don't want to cook. I just want to taste really good food. I
Cut
don't
to
want
the Lego factory. So we've been told you're the best taste tester for our Legos.
I really appreciate you guys flying me out to Denmark.
Of course.
This is so cool. And Svetlana, this is what a gorgeous factory.
Thank you. We put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, I can tell. And I love Legos. But please don't make me put them in my mouth.
That is your job. And you're on the clock already. So can you tell me...
How did I get into this?
Your parents thought they sold you into...
My parents sold me into Lego tasting?
Yeah, it's very prestigious. You know, you should be proud.
I'm so scared. Okay.
Captain Rex microfighters are coming down the line. We need a taste test.
Oh, that's you.
Okay, I'll do it. Can I just ask, why do you need a taste tester for minifigs?
People just like to eat their Legos.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I mean, Caleb and my mom both thought it was normal. Let me see. It tastes like no sweaty palms on this one.
Okay.
It tastes like really forward, fresh plastic, and in the back, just a bit of grape.
Okay.
Svetlana, there's a problem. He doesn't taste the sweaty palm.
That's what I was about to say. We need to figure out how to get that in the factory itself.
Yes, the consumers love this product very much.
We got to 2 weeks later. So my parents sold me to the Lego factory to handle the Legos before he tastes them. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. We have a new line of Ninjago figures. They need you to swirl them around in your palms and then put them directly into his mouth.
But here, eat a grape first.
Eat a grape first?
We want that grape forward.
Okay. What was that, Svetlana?
I was just going to compliment you. You know, lots of kids don't have sweaty hands yet. So we're very glad we found you.
Thanks, I think.
I hate Generation Alpha.
I'm very nervous, so my hands are sweaty. Plop, plop, plop. Here you go, Nicholas.
Okay, thanks very much. Can we let it dry first? You guys need me to taste it while wet?
Taste it.
Okay. Oh, damn. I hate this. Wait. It's all Flamin' Hot Cheetos front to back.
What?
No subtaste, no foretaste. It's just Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Did you eat Flamin' Hot Cheetos last night, Albert?
Yes.
Wait, look at his skin. He's sweat.
It's orange.
Cheeto! It's me, Chester Cheetah. Yeah! Here to liberate the sweatshop children of Legos.
Yeah!
Corporate saboteur.
Children start running out of the vestibules like at the end of the second Indiana Jones movie.
Chester builds a quick skateboard out of Legos and flies down a rail.
Yeah!
This way!
Our company doesn't produce guns. And I've never regretted it more.
We gotta go. There's an avalanche of minifigs behind us. Run!
Come on, this way to the Cheeto factory, where I promise you'll be paid fair wages.
We cut to a month later. Chester Cheetah's leading a tour of 7 lucky children through the mysterious Cheeto factory.
All right, kids, check this out. This river, all cheese.
I want it all.
Well, you can't have it all.
I'd like to put my mouth into the hot Cheeto water.
Augustus, be careful.
I'm falling in. It's too hot.
I've seen this stuff on TV. It's pretty good. It's like on the cowboy shows. Whoa, bang, bang. Hey, I have a question, Mr. Cheetah. Ow. Oh, sorry. Oh, no. I thought I put blinks in today. Oh.
You shot Augustus as he was floating down the cheese river. What's your question?
Sorry, is that against the rules?
Well, we don't have it listed, but we try not to shoot children who fall into the cheese river.
I'm getting off on this one. No, I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
Who makes all these Cheetos?
Who makes all the Cheetos? Minions.
Banana.
I'm glad that you applied for this teaching position? It doesn't really seem like you have any real experience, no degree in teaching. I mean, it's nice that you're interested in the future of America, but all it says here is that you've got a teaching sweater.
Yep, that's right. I got a sweater on.
Yeah, it's a nice sweater. Yeah, the teaching sweater doesn't make you qualified to be a teacher.
Oh, but it's a cardigan. You button it up and it looks formal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm seeing that. Yeah, very nice. Looks like it's got a little cashmere blend in it. Super nice sweater. Love it. You need experience to be a teacher. You need a degree. So it's not really just about the look.
Okay. Let me see if I'm understanding you right.
Mm-hmm.
You think that being a teacher means more than walking into a classroom with a fresh fit?
Yeah, you got what I'm saying. Absolutely.
Even if I have like chinos and dress shoes on or something?
Oh, you'd really have the whole look, but no. And I know you've also got those glasses that you're wearing on the bridge of your nose. Yeah. But no, it's. Yeah, you even brought an apple.
Uh-huh.
But no, I mean it's
I was hoping someone would give one to me, but I brought my own this time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you've certainly got the look. It's more like it seems like you think it's like a Halloween costume or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We got to Nick at the LAPD Chatsworth precinct. Okay, so yeah, we do need a lot of new officers on the street. I see you got a lot of teaching experience on your resume here. Looks great. But wow, I thought you might come, dressed a little more like a cop. You're wearing a cardigan?
Yeah, very formal, very professional. Put my chinos on, dress shoes. I brought a donut. I was hoping someone would give one to me, but I brought my own.
You brought your own donut?
Yeah, and an apple, too, because donuts are a little unhealthy.
That's pretty good. Wait a second. Guy brings his own donut. Hey, Sarge?
Yeah.
Just a second, sir.
Okay, yes.
Sarge, this guy brought his own donut. What do you think? I've never done that.
They just give it to me for free at the Dunkin'.
Exactly.
And thank me for my service.
Yeah.
I want that. I want to be thanked for my service.
Hold on, we're having a sidebar.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Can you shut up?
Oh, yeah, okay. I'm going to text my mom real quick. I think they like me.
This guy whispers when he texts.
I know. It's a little unsettling.
Yeah. He whispers when he buys. I didn't even know you could buy a donut.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Did you hear that?
I heard that.
Thanks, Mom.
I love you.
It's got whisper text tech. Whisper text technology.
That's kind of convenient.
Did you wear the sweater?
That is so cool.
I did, and also the chinos and the dress shoes. And my glasses.
I mean, he's really got the teacher outfit down.
Yeah, he looks absolutely like a teacher, which makes me think great cop.
Sorry, do you guys still need me here? I forgot I have a pitch at Shark Tank for Whisper Techs.
You forgot you have a pitch at Shark Tank? That seems like a big deal.
I'm kind of an entrepreneur, so it's not a huge deal for me.
Shark Tank.
Hey, Sharks, here's my tech. It's called Whisper Tech. And I'm asking for $300,000 for 2% of my business.
I have a question real quick. It's Mark Cuban here.
Yes, Mark. Yes, sir.
I was gonna, I'm not even clear what Whisper Tech is or why the valuation would be so high, but I gotta say you're dressed really sharp, and for those reasons, I'm in.
Yes. That's one shark down. Can we get all the other ones in on this deal? I think it'd be really good for you all to partner with someone like me who wears a cardigan and chinos.
I have no idea what this is, but is that a cashmere blend sweater?
Yes, it is.
I'm double in.
Wow.
And with your connections at the TV shopping, what's it called?
QVC.
QVC. With your connections at QVC.
I was going to say that.
Thanks, Lori. Mr. Wonderful?
Yeah, they call me Mr. Wonderful. And, if you know me, I'd like to ask, how much has your revenue been since your company's been active?
I've made $5 in 10 years. I sold this to my mother, and she whisper texts me every morning.
I love you.
Thanks, Mom.
We cut to Nick and his mom at a Panera.
I just can't hold down a job.
Well, here's $5, honey.
Cut back.
Okay, normally that would not be enough to sustain a business, nor does it really indicate projected growth. But I've never said this on live television before, but my relationship with my mother has been very strained ever since I became a billionaire. And I just want something to reconnect with her. And I really personally think that whispering is gonna do something.
Mr. Billionaire, my son.
Oh my God.
I love you.
Oh my God. I am in. $400K for a 1%?
Wow, that's an even better deal than I was asking for. Can we get other sharks in on that? Wow.
Yes.
Robert?
Yes.
You're the nice one, but no one wants to make a deal with you. He backs out a lot. Sorry, I'm texting my mom right now.
Did your mom say that?
Don't be rude, honey.
Sorry, Mom. Hey, Mom, can you text Mark again? Can you text him that you like the Dallas Mavericks? I think he's really on board.
Honey, I'm exhausted from all this texting.
Come on, please. I'm in the middle of my pitch. I need your help. Sorry, Sharks. I'll be with you in just a second.
Hey, is this Paul? Question mark, question mark, question mark. 3 spaces. I think we friends.
Yes, we friends. I'm in the middle of a pitch right now, so this is not a great time for me. Hang on.
That's cool, Paul. I gotta let you know about my new crypto.
New crypto? Tell me more.
Yeah, it's called Finbucks. It's shark based, and it's gonna be the hottest crypto. It burns double the fossil fuels of every other crypto.
Wow. I'd like to invest $400,000 for 1%.
I love that. All you need to do is forward me your PayPal info.
Okay. Sharks, I'm forwarding this man my PayPal info. Dun, 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 dun. Last week on Shark Tank, we left you with the cliffhanger to end all cliffhangers as one man tries to sell his business, Whisper Text, for a lot of money. Sharks.
Yes.
Yes, I'm a new shark.
Whoa. That new shark. She brought a really nice carpet bag.
Oh my God.
Whatever it is, I want it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I went all in on fin pins. What was the name of your business again, Paul?
That was great. All right, Cosmo, you're going to do a slacker, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm just going to give you a word to go. Your suggestion is Rush.
Rush.
Oh, wow. Honey, it's Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I never thought it'd be this beautiful in person.
I know. They say it's overrated, but I'm enamored. Like, they made rocks into faces?
It's fascinating. You know how patriotic I am.
Yeah.
Honey, I also love it so much.
Oh, very nice faces.
They're really good. Like, I hate them, but I love them, you know?
Do you see this dumb American tourist? He's crying looking
They're
at
so
it.
dumb. But I love it, but I hate it.
You hate it?
I hate it, but I love it. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you
My
mean.
darling, I love you.
I don't like the vibes this Russian couple is giving.
God, we're German. So rude.
Oh, sorry.
How are we supposed to know?
I don't know.
why are
They
they
all
even
sound the
listening?
same.
That's what I'm saying.
Stupid Americans.
So dumb. But also, I love Mount Rushmore.
Oh, look at those faces.
But don't you kind of hate them at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, excuse me. I'm sorry to interrupt
Hello.
you guys. Hello.
Hello. Welcome to America.
Oh, great. Welcome to America.
Yes.
I'm from here.
Good.
Oh, okay. Cool. And do you say that a lot? Do you say welcome to America a lot?
Yes.
Honey, calm down. It's probably just an English
Good
thing.
idea.
Yeah, they're probably. Are you guys English?
No,
You
that's
guys are
not
from
what I was
Britain?
saying.
Oh,
The German.
We're
oh,
German.
the German. I can't tell. Yeah.
Stupid Americans.
Oh no. I just wanted to know. I was curious where you guys were visiting from, but it sounds like you're
Germany.
Germany. Yeah, that's
Stuttgart.
great. Stuttgart. Oh, that's great. You know me. I'm a huge.
You like Essen?
Do I like Essen?
S&Ds. Got him.
Honey, I love your jokes so much.
Thank you. It's American humor. It's stupid, but I love it.
No, I love it so much. But I hate it.
I'm sorry that kind of hurt my feelings, but it was also really funny.
Oh, you're starting to
Really
get
good.
it.
Yeah, it was really good.
So you hate it, but you love it?
I guess you could say like
Well.
I hated feeling foolish, but I loved the turn of phrase.
Wow.
Sorry, that's my husband. Nothing makes him happier than a little wordplay.
Oh my god, I can't even tell you how much I love wordplay.
Wow, very interesting. Stupid Americans.
God.
I can hear you. That just made me feel bad.
Cut to Ben at a frozen yogurt shop. Hey, welcome in. We have a bunch of new flavors for you to try. You got some very punny names.
Oh wow, a bunch of new flavors with punny names of frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this. Can I just give you a small warning?
Oh, sure.
I might freak out if the puns are too good. 'Cause
Okay.
I love puns.
All right, well, there's vanilla bean there, done that.
Oh, whoa, what? Okay, that's really good. That's really good.
Oh, all right, well.
Bean, because bean is like a vanilla bean.
Absolutely.
And then you made it also like a...
Phrase.
Yeah, you've been there, done that.
Would you like that flavor?
Yeah, let me try that.
There you
Oh, it's honestly, it's so much better than a regular vanilla bean. It's so good.
Really, just off the strength of the name.
That's got to be it. It put me in a headspace, like ecstasy headspace.
Whoa.
Ecstasy.
Yeah.
Wow, I wish I could come up with a pun name off that word. Here, why don't you try this one? You tried vanilla. How about chocolate? Oh, chocolate.
What? Oh my god, I'm vibrating. This is crazy.
Here's a scoop.
Let me try that. Whoa. Oh. My mouth feels like it's been healed. Like I didn't know anything was wrong with it. And now I can tell it was in trouble before. And now it's
Cut
healed.
to the dentist. So, what seems to be the problem that brings you in today?
I have a lot of pain all over my mouth.
Okay.
Not just that I know your thing is teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of like the whole thing. Have you ever felt like the world is wrong?
Yeah, it's unfair in many ways.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at your mouth.
We're really vibing.
Yeah,
I think you
sure.
get what I'm putting down. Like it feels like we're best friends.
Yeah, I love having good relationships with my patients.
This
great.
is nice. You're very you get right to the point. You're very incisive.
Can you please open your mouth?
Okay, yep. Oh.
Okay. There's no signs of plaque or tartar. Tartar. Sorry, I always read the word, but
Tartar?
Tartar. Doctor, would you like me to find the pronunciation for you?
Yeah, please.
I'm Googling it now.
Oh, I'm so glad I have my text with me.
Tartar sauce is a condiment used mostly for fish and chips.
I don't think that's the right
I
definition.
don't think so either. Could you, what's number 2?
Tartar. I'm seeing La Brea tar pits. I'm also seeing on this patient's chart he has the worst case of gingivitis we've ever seen before.
Oh, that'll do it.
I don't brush. Is that?
Um,
I know it's optional, and so I just choose not to. But I was gonna say, sounds like I gotta. Maybe my mouth is in the middle of the tartar pits.
That's very funny. Wow. Tartar
he's very good at
pits.
wordplay.
Tartar pits. I'm feeling it around my mouth.
Does it feel healed?
It does.
Come on!
Wow.
This is what I was trying to say. If I don't get puns, my mouth feels bad.
You mean I can heal people's mouths with puns?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's incredible. I don't know what the mechanism is, but when I hear a pun, I feel healed in my mouth.
Well, I guess we should put in some fluoride. I don't know how your mouth got this bad.
I can feel the gingivitis is like receding.
Got your Peric at home. Babe, the mispronunciation is a little annoying. I just want you to maybe focus on words and try to get them right, because I think people are gonna. It's like one of those like couple things. Like I think people are just gonna think you're dumb. You know,
it just shows I'm well read. I just don't know how a lot of words are said out loud.
Yeah, but it's like kind of basic words like refrigerator. Like it's just. Have you never heard the word refrigerator? Like,
can I be honest with you?
I would love it. I'm just gonna finish cooking up these eggs while we do it.
A lot of people think I'm dumb because of my pronunciations. I used to say pronunciations,
and you learned that one, sweetie. That was my birthday present this year.
I wish people could see what a good dentist I am, and how many.
Yeah, I think they would if you said things right. Do you want sunny side up or over easy?
I'll have a Uber easy.
Over. Over.
What?
It's over, not Uber. It's not Uber.
Oh, sorry. I hang out with a lot of Canadians.
We cut to the dentist with all her buds at the Canadian bar. Oh! Hey, sounds like you had a bad day, eh? Bad combo with your wife.
Yeah.
Super sorry about that. Super sorry.
Oh, super sorry. I just
some moose antlers. Just came off the wall right there.
It's getting hot out, and where our glue doesn't hold.
Sorry, I just walked in. What are you talking about?
The moose antlers, they fell right onto my shoulders.
And she's wearing a Degrassi Junior High t-shirt.
Oh.
And a Drake jacket.
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't know about you guys, but I think Drake really won that battle with Kendrick.
Yeah.
Definitely, clearly.
He's a proud Canadian.
He's prude, and as a prude Canadian, he doesn't have to be really good at rapping to win the battle. He just is a little nicer. And because he's nicer, I say he won.
Yes.
I'm really prude of you guys.
Oh,
I'm prude of you.
I'm prude of you.
We're a real prude crew.
How about some beers?
I would love some birds.
Beers and dirt for beers.
Okay, I'm losing the train of...
We're talking about burr.
Oh, burr.
Sorry, when we get really excited, we slip into our native Canadian. English is kind of our second language,
But we're proud to have an American friend.
Thank you. I really like hanging out with you guys. You think I'm smart. I'm a good dentist.
Yeah.
My family life is great.
You know how to order Uber Easy eggs.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. You guys feel like that rat beef is going to finally be settled soon? I just feel like Kendrick should just...
It's really a simmer thing.
It's a simmer thing?
I think it's going to last all simmer.
Oh my God. I can't handle it. It's too much conflict, you know? It stresses me out.
We cut to Ben at the forum. Hey, we appreciate you being a security guard here, but
Yeah, sure.
it feels like you're really hung up on the rat beef.
Yeah. Well, this fella Kendrick, I wish I could just set him down and talk to him.
Yeah, well, he's walking up right now because he's performing tonight. Mr. Lamar, nice to see you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Lamar. Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought about how it might hurt Drake's feelings when you say the things you say?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm getting a little emotional.
Would you like a hug?
I would love a hug.
A little hug?
I really never thought about that.
Well, I'm from Winnipeg, so we really value niceness.
Are you friends with Mike Myers?
Oh, boy, do I wish I was.
Yeah.
No, my favorite comedian of all time. So I married an axe murderer.
You did?
Whoa! Now this type of wordplay really gets my goat.
So
I love it.
I would really like to thank you because I was thinking this feud was going to go on for the whole summer, but I think I'm going to end it here.
Oh, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
You know what you should do?
Gosh, what should I do?
To celebrate? You should head over to the Canadian Mount Rushmore. It's Mike Myers, Wayne Gretzky, Lisa Gilroy.
To the Canadian Mount Rushmore.
Oh, I'm so happy, honey.
I know, honey. It's so beautiful.
We're so patriotic. And this is like a dream come true for us.
I know. The rocks, they have faces.
Long time ago.
That's great, Cosmo. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
What would you like to plug? Anything collectively or individually?
I mean, we have shows at We Improv. Check out, weimprov.org/shows.
Yeah.
To see those. And then check out the classes at We Improv. If you're enjoying this podcast, it means you might like this community. I teach some classes
That's
there.
right. Ben teaches.
Check it out. It's great. What do you guys like about We Improv classes?
Oh, this is nice.
Oh, it's very relaxed. I do not
great.
feel like high pressure, which makes for such better play.
Completely.
Yeah.
I think also the shows every week really help me get out of my head when I'm performing.
Yeah.
Which I think was like my biggest problem before. Yeah.
That's so cool to hear. I heard somebody recently say the shows don't feel high stakes, and so it helps them with like exposure to anxiety on stage, which is really cool. Feeling like comfortable. Yeah.
I would say it's a warm and inviting atmosphere at We Improv.
This is very nice. Thank you all.
You can follow us on social media, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can.
Cosmo.
Yeah, at Cosmo
Cosmo
Improv
Improv.
on Instagram. Yeah.
And reactivators?
But that's my plug. I can't plug
You
that.
plug whatever you want.
If I wanted to listen to it, where would I go, Nick?
On any podcast app. Reactivators, and you'll have to figure out the spelling. Depending on when you listen to this, you may be able to see Cosmo at the Summer Showdown as well.
Oh, that's right. You won.
Oh, yeah. In July at some point. Check out.
Gosh, I hope I have this out by then.
I'll get
Just follow at Cosmo Improv, and we'll post about it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Cosmo.
Thanks,
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to Wimpy. We Improv makes podcast for you with me, Jake Jabor. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to shout out Lisa Gilroy for letting me use her music. That was truly awesome. She's the best. And I want to thank my guests who took time to interview with me. And I want to shout out the teams who came down and improvised and let me play with them. You all have made my life much, much better. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in classes and shows, you can check out weimprov.org or follow us on Instagram at weimprov. We also have merchandise. Get a hat, get a shirt, get a hoodie. If you want exclusive merchandise, you can join pre-Weemium memberships for as little as $10 a month. And check out my book, Elevator Farts. It's exercises, offers, and notes of encouragement for improvising. I think it's pretty great. It's small. I call it a lap book. Fits on your lap. Keep it in your back pocket. Take it to your improv class. Say, Jake says to do it differently. They'll say, who the fuck is he? And you'll go, good point. And then you can just put it in one of those tiny free libraries. This has been Wimpy. I've been Jake. You've been wonderful. Ta-ta.